To be back and to, when you're doing this, you almost feel as though, like, I know you guys. There's like so many of you out there already, and the comments are already coming up. I'm seeing, what is that, Dave? Say hello, Kathy. Hello, Dave. How are you? I think I saw Kevin. Yes, Kevin, you are the best. We love Kevin Labden. Such a great man, and so many others. I have missed you guys. Who is that, Vika? Who are you bringing up? Merry Christmas, Warrior. I know, Denise. Aren't we all? But listen, I have missed you guys. Hello, Kathy from Douglasville. Oh, my goodness. I think about all of you so much. Our time together when we were running this campaign, I was thinking we really only had about 3 to 4 good months of a campaign, right? Especially for someone like myself, very new, wasn't established, didn't have this ground game already laid out before January, where, we get endorsed. February, we're getting the signatures. March, we're shut down and we don't open back up until maybe about 4 months before the actual election. But during those 4 months, I mean, we just ran and we met so many of you. And I mean, I just fell in love with Montgomery County. It's just such a wonderful county. So many amazing people, all the way up there in Berks as well. Just really amazing people. But our campaign became a national campaign. We had so many people contributing and calling and reaching in and supporting us from all across the nation. And I just want y'all to know, I think about you. I pray for you. I miss all of you. Saying about prayer, usually around this time of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, you always hear people say, oh, and Vico, get that 1-800 number. I'll tell you in a minute, but get ready. But, you always hear people talking about, how sad this period of the year is. And although I had never personally sensed that sadness or anything like that, for myself, because I'm a happy individual by nature, and I just want to enjoy my family. I always gave deference to it. I always believed that this would perhaps be, one of the most difficult seasons for a lot of people, but I had never personally experienced it. This year, I'm experiencing that sadness, just a general sadness for my nation. Primarily for my family. I told you guys the only reason why I got in this in the first place, one, I felt like I was being called by God to do so, but then two, just wanting, I love my country. I love my country and I want to see everyone do well. And so I had such a desire to make sure that we can preserve our nation for the next generation. And that sense of preserving my country and saving it for our children and our children's children, it is on steroids right now with me. I have been experiencing some very sad days. And I know so many of you are as well. There's so much anxiety and unknown, right? I know that the Democrat mainstream media, including Fox and a lot of others, even on our side of the aisle, are trying to paint this picture of inevitability, that this Joe Biden presidency is inevitable. Just deal with it, right? And they will have us to flush our own brains down the toilet. Just pretend we don't see what we see. There's nothing here to see, y'all. Just go back to sleep. Just go back to sleep, right? That's what they will have us to believe. And it's very overwhelming just seeing the forces of mainstream media, the forces of big tech, the forces of mainstream of various news sources, the various political apparatuses, even the power of the courts, just not wanting to listen. I get it. And so it's very sad. So the sadness is real. So for those of you who are feeling my level of sadness and then some, I want you to know that help is out there. Can you put that number up for me? Help is out there. Make sure you reach out to someone. Make sure you talk to someone. You are not alone. And if you need to talk to someone, do it. Talk to someone. Do not sit in your and whatever those emotions are all by yourself, thinking no one cares. There are so many people who really do care about each and every one of you. So make sure that you call this number, 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That is your lifeline. If you have family, friends, reach out. Even to my campaign, if you need someone to kind of come alongside you, reach out to us. We're on all social media platforms. Direct message us and we will reach out to you and keep all of that confidential. Okay. Now, let me tell you how I'm dealing with this sadness. I have prioritized my life. I know exactly what is most important to me. And I say it all the time. I wrote about it in my book. There it is. Nothing to lose, everything to gain, being Black and conservative in America. I wrote it in my book. I talk about, as I walk through life, having so many deficits in my own life, and knowing that, like there were a lot of things that I just did not have that are, commonplace for so many of us. And I learned very early on that I need to prioritize. And for me in my life, God, family, country, right? So when I look at my country, I'm sad. And there's no two ways about it. I'm not mixing words about it at all. And there's legitimate reasons to be so. Either way this thing turns out, I am sad that my country is going through what it's going through right now. And I feel a tremendous amount of trepidation, anxiety a little bit about, what is to come. And I think those things are very natural. So I have sadness about that. And it's very real sadness. But then I pivot and I see my God. He is sovereign. He is in control of all things. None of this is taking him by surprise. And in many regards, I have come to the point where I realized that our nation needed to go through this. There's a tremendous amount of apathy. I think most of us have been lit on the inside of the overwhelming majority of us that will not quiet down anymore. We have acquiesced and rolled over and played dead, and we took comfort in calling ourselves the silent majority, which I never understood, while the left is very loud and rude and obnoxious, rioting, looting, tearing up stuff. We're over here, just trying to live our best lives, pay our bills, send our kids to school, all, affable tasks. But I think because of what we're going through right now, there is a fire that has been lit in many of us to do more than we have ever done before, and to engage like never before. That we will not be sleeping giants much longer after all of this. So I believe that all of that is orchestrated, and I believe none of this takes God by surprise. Even me running, I know for a fact I did not call myself into this race, but I believe I was following what it is that God had before me to do. And I know that he will be faithful in those things. And then I pivot to my family, right? God, family, country. That's how I prioritize my life. And when I look at my family, all is well. My babies are healthy. My family is healthy. I haven't gotten any phone calls in the middle of the night. All is well. And, we have a home. We have a roof over our head. We have the lights are on, food is in the refrigerator. And I know growing up as a kid, those three things, for example, weren't always a given. We didn't always have a roof over our head, or our own roof over our head. We didn't always have, I told you guys, I know exactly what it feels like to sit in a dark room because my single parent mother could not pay for both the rent and the light bill. I know exactly what it feels like to stand in front of an empty refrigerator door and wonder where my next meal was going to come from. That's not my situation. And so for each and every one of us, I know that there's been a lot of loss this year with COVID and a number of other things. And I am so sorry. Please reach out to us and we will be praying for you. We will have a group of people who will pray for you specifically. And if you need us to reach out to you, we will do that. But this time of the year, one of the ways that I am dealing with the sadness, very real sadness about all the foolishness that's going on around us, right? With the country, with, deep state, whatever you want to call it, right? There's something awry that's going on in our country. I am getting back to the basics, and I am really trying to focus on, the priorities in my life. And I know that God is still sovereign. He is real, and he is still in control, and my family is well. My friends are well. My life is well. And so I want to encourage each of you to do that as well. Okay. If you can bring my book all the way up, Vico. There it is, guys. Oh my goodness. Y'all know it went number 1, 2 months in a row when it first came out, and then COVID hit. Oh my goodness. Right. But God has been faithful even in that. So please go out to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere books are sold, and get my book. And if I see you along the way, we're going to be all over the place. I bring it with you and I will sign it. How about that? So nothing to lose, everything to gain, being Black and conservative in America. I tell you no lie, it is literally reading like prophecy right now. All of this foolishness that we're going through right now, my book is reading like prophecy. I submitted it in 2019 to my editor, and late 2019. So I had no idea any of this was coming. And yet I had every idea that this was coming, because wherever Democrats, specifically progressive Democrats, get in control, they have a train that follows them, a train of chaos, foolishness, and mayhem. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Wherever they go and they become the loudest voice or the majority, a train of foolishness, chaos, and mayhem follow them. And I kind of walk you guys through some of those narratives and through some of those things. So please go out there and get that. Okay, let me pivot. Any questions, Vico? Make sure you put them up. Any thoughts or anything like that, you guys? Tell me. I'm going to come back to you guys towards the end, but tell me, what are some of the things you guys are doing this Christmas? And Merry Christmas, by the way. I don't know if I said that. Merry Christmas, right? Not Happy Holidays, not Happy Xmas. We got to stop being silent. The fact that we're so silent is the reason why these people have become so blatant and bold. They say whatever they want to say. They behave however they want to behave. Just leave that up there all the way through, or maybe not all the way through the show, but for the most part, let me just pound that in, okay? If someone has a problem, good, deal with it. I don't care. But it's Merry Christmas, everyone. Can you believe it? I mean, Christmas is right around the corner, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to come and just kind of talk to you guys and have some time of real talk of where we all may find ourselves today. So make sure you are sharing this. You guys know that you can also do a what do you call it? A watch party. So do a watch party. Let other people know that you are watching this and that they need to watch it as well. So let me tell you, here's a strategy of the left, because I'm feeling it. It is the strategy of weariness. They're trying to wear us down. They're trying to wear us down. I'm telling you, the strategy is one of weariness, the one of painting this formidable picture of inevitability, that it is just a foregone conclusion. Joe Biden is not president-elect. Joe Biden, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, we cannot get weary. Do not grow weary. I know it's tempting. I, like you, I'm tired, right? But unlike most of you, I've been out here busting my butt, right? And if I could continue to put my hand to the plow, you can too. If President Trump can continue to wake up and put his hands to the plow and push each day, you can too, okay? Most of you have not submitted and given as much as others. And so it is time, especially for those of you who've been sitting on the sidelines a little bit more than you should have. It's time for you to jump in and give the rest of us a little reprieve for a moment, okay? And come and shore us up and encourage us. This has to become a family. This is our nation. And so do not grow weary and do not acquiesce. We must refuse to be swept under the rug. Did that make sense? There are 75 plus million of us. And that's not including the USB drive that they just threw in the trash can, or that they're finding with 2,000 votes over here. And then they look over here in this drawer and there's another 2,000 votes over there. This is excluding the 6 suitcases of ballots that they pulled from up under the table, the overwhelming majority of those ballots going to Biden. There are 75 plus million fellow Americans who think like us. And I always thought it was very interesting that here we have the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration and others who are telling us it's time to heal. It's time to heal. Don't you think 75 million people? That's not a small number of people. And if you won fair and square, I mean, if I won something fair and square, and I wanted that large number of people to come around me and move with me and bring legitimacy to my election, I would not be so so quick to just sweep them under the rug, to ridicule them, to try to marginalize them, calling them conspiracy theorist nuts. I would listen to them. I mean, we've seen hundreds of affidavits being submitted to various courts. We've seen a number of people, of fellow Americans, who are coming before the cameras, laying it all on the line, because we know the left is despicable. These people there's no honor among these thieves, right? And so we know that once we come forward with something, these band of bandits are going to just pounce on us. And yet we have seen American after American after American, not all Republicans. We've seen some Democrats, we've seen some independents, we've seen Black people, we've seen white people, we've seen women, we've seen men, we've seen all kinds of people come forward and say, this was my experience. This is wrong. And yet we have the Biden administration. I don't even know. Can I call it an administration? It's not an administration. Like the Biden coup. I don't know. What do you call it? The Biden band of thieves. I don't know. You have the Biden Kamala Harris band of thieves who are constantly, and their merry men would be mainstream media, including Fox and big tech people, corporations, I don't know, maybe Mitch McConnell, I don't know. But you have these merry band of thieves who are just trying to tell the rest of us, shut up, go back to sleep. There's nothing to see here. Yes, we saw those six suitcases from up under tables magically appear, and we saw people quickly just scanning them in, but there's nothing to see here. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go back to sleep. We saw all throughout this thing, right? Hundreds of thousands of people show up at a Trump rally, and then we look over at Biden and you see 8 circles, and maybe 2 of them are occupied with people showing up at a Biden rally. But yeah, nothing to see here. Look at this. Oh my goodness, put it back up again. That is crazy. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Take me off the screen. Just let them get a full view of this. This is crazy, y'all. Right? But they want us to believe that you're seeing right there translated into 80,000 votes. No. You can put me back up. I don't think so. But that's what they would have us to believe, right? That all that enthusiasm you just saw in those 8 little perfectly round circles equated to 80,000 votes, right? No, I know there's a lot of Trump derangement syndrome, and a lot of people actually came out not voting for Biden as much as they were voting against Trump. I know that was one of their theories. Can you imagine being that hateful? Being that ridiculous of an individual that you would come out and 80 million according to them, just because you hate somebody? That's crazy, right? But that's what they would have us to believe. So I always thought it was interesting that, for someone who's calling for healing and kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya is what they want us to do, that these people are just so swift, just so quick to ridicule us, marginalize us, say there's nothing to see here. The hundreds of affidavits, the innumerable number of testimonies that have been given at various legislative hearings, as well as the Senate hearing. I just thought that was all very interesting. No, no, don't do that. So I just thought that was all very interesting, right? But here we have it. So what do we do with all this, right? So we have the Biden Harris cabal telling us, go back to sleep, there's nothing to see here, just trust me, let's move forward and heal together. And then you have 75 plus million of us saying no. Something is crazy here, right? We may not know exactly what went down, but we know Joe Biden didn't get 80 million votes, right? Something is awry here. Let's put this in the open. Let's bring what was done in the dark and in these rooms that had no observers. Let's put all of that out in the front, right? So in the open, so everyone can see it. And let's just see where the facts lead us. I mean, I can take a loss. I think most of us can take a loss, right? But it is the manner in which this thing is going. And the refusal of the various courts to allow us our due process, right? Because we're not animals. We're not beasts of burdens. Our side of the aisle don't go out rioting, looting, burning down other people's property, dragging folks' children in the middle of the street and jumping on their head until they're unconscious, as we saw the left do on a number of occasions. Our side are decent people, right? We're the better side of this equation. And we need to start speaking that out for these animals, that we're the better side of this equation. And so what do? We have a grievance. We don't go rioting or looting or any of that, but instead we take our grievances to the court, because the Constitution affords us that ability to let our grievances be heard and to seek a remedy through the court. But what do we do when the courts refuse us? Do we go out rioting and looting? I mean, it really isn't a part of our MO. I mean, again, you have to get real debased to be that kind of person, to just go out, or, and if you're not the ones out there rioting and looting, be the other Democrats, the George Soroses and the other politicians who fan the flame of, the useful idiots out there who are rioting and looting, right? So either side of that is the same equation. We don't do that. So what do? Tuck our tail between our legs and just go home? We're not going to go out rioting and looting so that, Supreme Court Justice John Roberts can be fearful of us as well. So we're not going to do that in order to get the court's attention. And so when we try to act like we have some sense and revere the Constitution and use the Constitution to seek a remedy, and when the courts refuse to hear, right? Because all the cases are being rejected, not on merit, but on standing. Like, they don't think we're the right person to go and bring this case before them. So they're not hearing the merit. They're not hearing the infractions. They're just dismissing us outright before we can even go in and say, hello, my name is, and here are my grievances. They're just like slamming the door in our face. What do we do? Do we tuck our tail between our legs and say, okay, well, we'll work harder next time? Is that what we do? I don't think so. And there are a number on our side of the aisle who are saying, listen, our Constitution and our nation is strong enough to survive another 4 years. I don't think so. Not this. And it's not that I don't think so. John Adams, one of our founding fathers, don't think so. And I love reading John Adams' letters to his wife, Abigail. I love it. I do. I used to read them all the time. For a variety of reasons, I love it. But this is one of, this is something he said to his wife, Abigail, that I will never forget. He said, and I quote, "We have no government armed with power, capable of contending with human passions, unbridled by morality and religion." So listen to what he's saying. There is no government. We have no government that is powerful enough to contend with human passions that are unbridled, that have no restraint. We have no, our government is not strong enough to overcome that. You can take that down, Vico. Our government is not strong enough to overcome that. He goes on and says, avarice, which means extreme greed for wealth or material gain, ambition, revenge, or gallantry, would break the strongest cords of our Constitution as a well goes through a net. You listening to me? One of our founding fathers, right? Our side of the aisle, love quoting our founding fathers. One of our founding fathers said to his wife in a letter, our government, there is no government that is powerful enough to stop human passions that have no restraint, right? When you have humans who have thrown off all restraints, our Constitution, which is our government, has no ability to restrain those people. And in fact, those people move through the Constitution like a whale through a net. Now, I thought it was interesting that he said the types of people, right? So he says human passion. Well, what human passions? He breaks it down. People who have extreme greed for wealth and have no restraint. They will run through our Constitution like a whale through a net. People who are all about material gain and have no restraint holding them back. They will run through our Constitution like a whale through a net. He said people who are overly ambitious and have no restraints on them will run through our Constitution like a whale through a net. He said people who are all about revenge, all of y'all who went out there and voted for Biden. He's talking about you right there. All of y'all who voted for Biden, not because of Biden, but because you hate Trump. He's talking about you. He's talking about you. Swallow that. For all of you who voted for Biden because you hate Trump, he's talking about you. Our Constitution has no ability to stop people like you when all restraints have been taken off. But then I thought it was interesting. He then says, gallantry. Wait a minute. Gallantry is like chivalry. It's like, politeness, thoughtfulness, right? He said our Constitution has no ability to stop people who have unwarranted, irrational pursuit of trying to look polite. That's our side. Our side is like, oh, always use your inside voice. I know you're angry. I know they're trying to destroy the country. I know they're cheating, or I know they're having some schemes and they don't want to let you in the room, but pray for them. Yes, pray that God work in their heart, right? That's our side. Our side says, listen, don't use any bad words. I know you're angry, but, be nice. Our side says, listen, don't get too upset and don't really riot. It doesn't look nice, right? We have to be tolerant. We have to show love and kindness, right? It's irrational. That kind of talk I find to be irrational. Not do I find it to be irrational. One of our founding fathers, John Adams, said people who have this irrational pursuit of being polite, right? Clutching our pearls. Like, oh my goodness, our Constitution is strong enough. Just be quiet. We'll get it right next time. That's irrational. Yeah. I thought that was very interesting. You think that's interesting, Becca?
Very much.
I think that's very interesting, people. This is what I do to calm myself when I'm sad. I go and I read. I go and I seek wisdom. I seek knowledge, right? Because like you, I am so done with this election. I'm so over it. Like, oh my goodness. I am so ready for it to be like completely just done. Either way, I don't care. Like, let's just get this thing over. But at the same time, right? I mean, we can't just go out like that. We cannot allow people like John Roberts, our chief Supreme Court justice, to be overheard screaming at other justices saying we cannot take up this case from Donald Trump or from Texas because people are rioting and I'm scared. I don't think he used the word scared. We can't swallow that and be like, oh, well, the court doesn't want to hear it. Tuck our tails between our legs and run home now, right? No, because see, our side is not going to put on pink vajayjay hats and go running out, gyrating. These women put on pink vajayjay hats, went outside, some of them naked and gyrating. And somehow, in their ridiculous estimation of life, that was supposed to bring them power. None of them were, well, I won't even go there. But that was supposed to bring them power. I mean, that's their side. I ain't doing that. Okay? I ain't doing that. So what do we do? 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 Do we go on January 6th and stand outside of the courthouse? I mean, I was there when we did the Million Mega March, and there was 1 million plus of us out there. And we were at the Supreme Court, and that did nothing to move Chief Justice John Roberts to say, hey, I need to listen to these people. I need to pay attention to them. It did nothing. It did nothing to move them. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I'm going to come back a little bit later and talk to you about what we do, because I know that there's a strategy there. And there are some things we have to do, but we're going to have to get smart and we're going to have to start getting strategic. We're dealing with some real depraved individuals. We are dealing, I mean, most of us don't even, we can't even wrap our mind around how evil the progressive wing of the Democrat Party is. We just can't put our minds around it. We just can't. I mean, most of us are thoroughly saturated in the American ideology that justice will prevail and that the good guy always win, right? That's just who we are. And it's very difficult for us to swallow that these animals might have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. What did Chuck Schumer say? We win Georgia, we change America. They will. They will. But let me get back to that well through a net, because humans who have thrown off all restraints are the well. The Constitution would be the net. And God dropped it into my mind one day as we were driving to DC that the Democrat Party, not all Democrats, right? But I'm not going to sit here and keep qualifying. If you are a Democrat and you don't agree with what your party is doing and where they are on the scheme of things, you need to start speaking up and pushing back against them, right? But I do recognize not all Democrats that I'm speaking to right now, but that progressive arm. But I'm not going to keep qualifying it either. So figure it out. But the Democrat Party, specifically the progressive arm of the Democrat Party, has become a party of Jezebels. If you don't know who Jezebel is, go read about her. Start in the Bible. Google her. Or DuckDuckGo her. I know some of y'all, when I say Google, y'all lose y'all mind. Don't be talking to me about don't say Google, okay? Get over it. DuckDuckGo it. Firefox it. I don't know. But the Democrat Party has become a party of Jezebel. And if you know anything about Jezebel, the woman has no restraint. And that is exactly what the Democrat Party has become. They have long since thrown off the restraint of God and the Bible. right? They won't even say, "In God we trust," right? They just skip over that altogether, right? They don't have anything to do with God or the Bible. Cultural Christians, but not real authentic Christians, right? So cultural Christians, they've long since gotten thrown off the restraint of the Bible. They have long since thrown off the restraint of traditions, right? The traditions, the American traditions, right? Stand and put your hand over your heart and say the American, and pledge your allegiance to the American. No, we're going to throw off all restraints, right? Right? Every vote count. I don't care if they're legal or not. It's just like anything that is tradition. You don't say Merry Christmas, you say Happy Holidays, right? You can say Hanukkah, you can say Kwanzaa, just don't say Merry Christmas. Just don't. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everybody, right? Just don't say Merry Christmas. I'm going into every store, everywhere I go, to the post office, drop my kids off at school, see the mailman, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, right? And I'm going to do it with a smile. If you don't like it, get over it. I don't care. So, but they've just since thrown off every restraint, right? So they've thrown off God as a restraint. They've thrown off tradition, American traditions as a restraint. And now I believe they have done the last thing, and that was to throw off the restraints of the Constitution. Throw it out the window. We don't want to have anything to do with it. We're going to make it up as we go. And we saw that with the PA Supreme Court, right? I brought my Constitution, and I thought it was interesting. Article 1, Section 4, the times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature. Therefore, but the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as to the places of choosing senators. So, did you hear anywhere in there where the Supreme Court could make it up as they go? Did you see anywhere in there where I just read Article 1, Section 4, that Kathy Barnette, or what is she, Secretary of State, and Governor Wolf could come together, conjure up some wicked spell of rules and then take it to the PA Supreme Court, and the PA Supreme Court could make it law? Did you see anything in there? Let me read it to you again. And this is what I mean when I say Democrats have just blown through the last guardrail, the U.S. Constitution, which says Article 1, Section 4. Some of y'all are slow, so I'm going to read it again. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. Yeah. I bought this. These are my monkeys. Can y'all see that? Can you see that? I want to zoom in, Vico. Can you zoom in? Can y'all zoom in? See my monkeys? Get my monkeys. I know. Here are my monkeys. I got them when I went to Israel. And my monkey is the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Yeah, dumb. But I bought this because this is truly how many of you are. Just dumb monkeys. You see no evil, you hear no evil, you speak no evil, you're just oblivious. Walking through life, right? It's not going to work out well. We're going to have to truly get woke here and recognize that we're not in danger of a civil war. We're already in a civil war. Most of us just had no idea, myself included, that we were in a civil war. The weapons are not the traditional weapons of war. They are different, and they have been employed on us. It is not good. It's not good at all. I'm going to pause. You guys have any thoughts, questions? You see any pickle? Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. I love it, by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. That is so true. He would know. Hey, John. Merry Christmas to all from Team Barnette. That is so true. Thank you, Jack. We love Jack. Hey, Lisa, Merry Christmas and happy birthday, Jesus. Yes, Christmas is all about Jesus. Jesus Christ mess. I don't allow people to put the X and, X Jesus out, X Christ out, and just say Xmas. It's all about Jesus. MC Reamer says, let's expose robbers for the snake he is. I know. Yeah, I know. I don't know anything about that. But yeah, Mary Ellen, those pink hat women are embarrassing all women. That is so true, right? I mean, we would never be out there, gyrating naked. Stupid. Oh my goodness. Put Kevin back up there, because Kevin, you're on it. Knowledge is power. And I quote him all the time. I know some of you might be tired of me quoting him, but I don't care. I literally have it over the doorpost in my house, in my office. If you go into my office, over the door, I have it stenciled on the wall, a quote from Frederick Douglass. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. A lot of y'all have information, right? You have no wisdom. You have no wisdom. You have no wisdom, right? Knowledge, you can information, knowledge, you can go and Google it. Everybody, or DuckDuckGo it, or Firefox it. You can go and Google, or the other ones. Google is just it's like a verb now, okay? It's not actually a designation, a place. You can just go out there and get that information. But yes, DuckDuckGo.com. We like DuckDuckGo at the Team Barnette quarters. But knowledge, the application of knowledge, right? So if I can modify the quote from Frederick Douglass at all, right? Wisdom makes a man unfit to be a slave, right? Because wisdom is simply the application of knowledge. It's just taking knowledge and using knowledge, right? Information is in our palms nowadays, right? I mean, I can access a little bit of anything with this thing right here, right? But what do you do with it? Most of us are walking around with all the information we will ever need is right here. And yet, these are some of the most woefully ignorant people I have ever seen, right? And that is, I believe, a direct result of the dereliction of the media, right? That's why they have that First Amendment protection, is because the media is supposed to make sure that the population is informed. But instead, what we see, the media has become a branch of government, an arm of the DNC, and peddling their propaganda. And we are the worst for it. Anyone else pick up? If you didn't cheat, but 75 plus million people think that you did, and you're supposed to then lead them as a nation, wouldn't you do everything that you could to prove the win was legitimate? Oh my goodness, Al, did I not just say the same thing? Or would you just deny it and tell everyone to move on? Come on, man. I'm having way too much fun. Come on, man. Ow, that's exactly what I said. Did you hear me at the very beginning of this? Because it's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, if but they just keep telling us, okay, time is running out. And there's something else I want to get to. Okay. I've said this before November 3rd, I told you guys, right? That I remember when Obama was in office, right before Trump got in 2016. I thought that the greatest problem we had as a nation was deciding if grown men should be able to go into little girls' bathrooms, right? I thought the transgender movement was all there was, right? Because that's all the media ever talked about. That's all they talked about. They didn't talk about anything else, right? And then Trump gets in office and we're told we're going to be in a war with North Korea within 6 months. And lo and behold, North Korea starts sending out those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Did I get it right? I know. Let me tell you the power of reading, people. The power of reading. But almost immediately when Trump gets in office, there go North Korea sending those missiles. Boom, boom, boom. Like, when did this happen? No one told us. We had no idea this was happening. We were talking about transgendered bathrooms, right? Grown men wanting to use women bathroom or little girl bathroom. That's what we were talking about. Boys being able to shower with girls. That's what we were talking about. I remember one school, they were like, okay, well, boys can come in, but we will have these individual showers. And they were like, no. Boys with their boy body parts need to be able to have the freedom to shower in front of girls with the girls' body parts in school. I know a whole lot of boys when I was going to school who were not confused at all, who would have taken that up, who would have been like, yeah, I think I'm a girl today, teacher. I think I'm going to go into the girls' locker room today and take a shower full frontal in front of all the girls, where all the girls are now fourth because girls couldn't have the private one, little private shower. Everyone's going to have to shower together, right? And so I thought that was the biggest issue we had as a nation. And I'm a very informed person. Trump gets in office, all of a sudden we see these missiles, right? And I learned a very valuable lesson. Don't listen to mainstream media. Start reading outside sources. And I started doing that immediately. The same thing is happening now, people. The same exact thing is happening now. Democrats got us looking at our feet once again. They got us looking down at our feet. How many of you have heard of solar winds? You want to put that up there? Solar winds. Just put the wording, and then you guys go and go it. Go go it. Go Firefox it, right? For those of you who want to stay on, so just go go it. Solar Winds. Solar Winds is a cyber company that makes the widely used software program called Orion. Even I know what Orion is. I mean, and if I know what this is, it is prevalent, right? The hack is significant and ongoing. So Solar Winds is the company that make the the software program Orion that has been used all over the place. And the Orion software has been hacked. Significant hack, right? And ongoing hack, right? So not only did they hack it, crack it, break into it, and the way that they did it is not the end user, right? And you download something, but it's very elaborate, right? The very elaborate scheme, kind of like our election just went down, very elaborate, right? And that they did not put this virus. It's not a virus that they added at the end, and you just someone uploaded it unintentionally. No. See, they went back into the supply chain further up. You don't see my hand? Further up the supply chain, and they added the virus there. So before the software got to Solar Wind, somewhere up in the supply chain of Solar Wind, the hack was in, the plan was in, and they infiltrated it there. And then SolarWind goes out. Over 1,800 clients have been infiltrated. And guess who's on that list? I'm going to just read. The clients of SolarWind who use Orion, and there's significant hacking that has gone on. The Office of U.S. President, Pentagon, NASA, NSA, all 5 branches of the U.S. military, most of the Fortune 500 companies, including the top 10 U.S. communication companies. This started back in March of this year. What was happening in March of this year? We were shut down because of the Chinese Communist Party virus, the Wuhan virus, right? We were shut down because of that. So this hack started March of this year when we were all quarantined. And then it continued, I don't know when they found out about it, but it continued, right? And what were we contending with? We were all distracted. We were looking at riots. We were looking at looting. We were looking at Black Lives Matter. We were looking at everybody's a racist. People getting canceled. People getting, the cancel culture. We were looking at Democrats, including Madeline Dean and Nancy Pelosi, withholding stimulus packages. And now we know, Nancy admitted, well, now I will release the stimulus because we have a new president, talking about Joe Biden. So as I was saying before, Democrats was withholding the stimulus, putting poison pills in the stimulus packages because they had no intentions of the packages being picked up and passed. Those are the things, President Trump being constantly attacked, those are the things they had us focused on. And all the while, whether China or Russia, I think they're saying it's Russia, looks more like Russia. No, truly, we can say Russia, right? So Russia, all the while, we're over here looking at our feet. We're over here looking at our feet, talking about the rioting and the looting and the racism and what was it? White fragility. What is the other one? Critical race theory. We got to teach our little white children that they're inherently evil. They just don't know it because they're white. And so they got us over here looking at that, right? All the while, almost every single branch of government is being infiltrated. The Department of Energy, I believe they said that it has not touched the nuclear code, but who knows? Who knows what they've done? The nuclear, not code, but the stockpile. Vico's laughing, smiling at me. So, Office of U.S. President, Pentagon, NASA, NSA, all 5 branches of the U.S. military, most of the Fortune 500 companies, all been infiltrated. Crazy people. Crazy. And they got us over here rioting, looting, destroy, what's the hashtag for the police? Abolish the police, right? They got us talking about real stupid stuff, right? While all of this is going on and no one's talking to us about it. Also, while we were sleeping, Eric Swalwell, Democrat congressman out of California, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee, has some sort of dealing with a young female Chinese woman spy named Fang Fang. Fang Fang, you can't make that up. Fang Fang. If somebody got a double name, first and last, maybe that's a problem. I don't know. Fang Fang. Fang Fang was over here messing around with Eric Swalwell, while Eric Swalwell is constantly coming up in front of us, talking about Russia, Ukraine. We got to impeach Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a spy. He's been compromised. He's been infiltrated. Fang Fang over here is, I'm just going to say it, Fang Fang. Fang Fang is over here doing something unscrupulous, her and Eric Swalwell. No one wants to talk about that. Now, why? Somebody going to call me and talk to me about Fang Fang and that I'm making fun of Fang Fang. I'm not making fun of Fang Fang. That's her name, Fang Fang. I'm just saying Fang Fang. And you can't make it up. You can't make this up. Eric Swalwell is still on the House Intelligence Committee. Do we know anything about this man? What do we know about him, really? Has he been compromised? Why is he still there? Why has he not been pulled down? I'll tell you why. Because Democrats are shameless. And they only use the Constitution and rule of law when it's convenient to handcuff you and I. Otherwise, these beasts of burden, like the Jezebels they are, have just thrown off all restraint. Thrown off all restraint. All restraint. We don't care. We're going to make it up as we go, right? We can do better than this. Radcliffe issuing warnings about Chinese Communist Party influence over members of Congress. He said Eric Swalwell is just the tip of the iceberg. Put your mind around that. Eric Swalwell with Fang Fang is just the tip of the iceberg. What does that mean? Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned that Chinese Communist Party is targeting the governors of all 50 states and have labeled each of the governors of the 50 states as friendly, hardline, ambiguous. I wonder what Governor Wolf is. Friendly. I don't know. China and I don't talk like that, so I wouldn't know their list, right? Maybe Madeline Dean does. She did take $20 million from a Taiwan company with the sweatshop over in China. So maybe Madeline Dean knows if Governor Wolf has been labeled by the Chinese Communist Party as what? I don't know. Friendly, hardline. Do you see Governor Wolf being hardline or ambiguous? I don't know. Lastly, Biden and the media love affair. Put that up. It has gone south. Look at these. These are the media headlines before and after the 2020 election. Remember, Politico said, Hunter, before the election, Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinformation. Dozens of former intel officials tell us so. After the election, Politico is now saying Hunter Biden says U.S. attorney is investigating his tax affairs. The Washington Post, before the election, they said the truth behind the Hunter Biden nun scandal. After the election, Washington Post is now saying Hunter Biden tax probe examining Chinese business dealings. Wait, hold up. Put that back. Show my face. Is that how that goes? Okay, go back. CNN, the anatomy of the New York Post's dubious Hunter Biden story. After the November 3rd election, federal criminal investigation into Hunter Biden focuses on his business dealings in China. NPR analysis, questionable New York Post scoop driven by ex-Hannity producer and Giuliani. After the election, Hunter Biden says he is under federal investigation for tax matter. I think that's it. Go back to me. You gotta laugh or else you lose your mind with these people. So between Fang Fang and the media love affair going into question with Hunter Biden, just crazy. But guess what? But don't worry, right? Because if the Joe Biden uh, uh, non-administration becomes an administration, don't worry. He is going to focus on what's most important. And so far, as we've seen from his picks, if his picks for his administration, rounding out his administration, tells us anything about where his focus is going to be, we have Pete Buttigieg, who will be the first gay man in the administration. So it's all about gay, right? He will be transportation secretary, according to Biden. We have a transgender for the education. He's going to focus on that. The Supreme Court, he's already told us he's going to get a black person. I'm thinking, since we're now, you guys have heard of Special Olympics, right? I call this oppression Olympics, what Joe Biden and the Democrat Party is going to force us to live under, right? And under the oppression Olympics, the rules are this. You are only as valuable as your perceived level of victimhood, of oppression. So you are only as valuable as your perceived level of oppression. That's the rule. So the more oppressed you are perceived to be, then the more valuable you are as an individual. So when Biden says, I'm going to get a black woman to sit on the Supreme Court, I'm like, well, hey, why not a black woman who's gay? Why not a black woman who's gay with a limp? Why not a black woman who's gay with a limp and a lazy eye? Why not? This is the age of oppression Olympics. Okay, guys. That's all I'm going to say tonight. We can do better. We're going to have to do better. We can laugh. We can make, these are the facts. I'm not making any of this stuff up, right? The humor is just because it's just so ridiculous. And it's so obvious to anyone who's not a dumb monkey, right? If you're not a dumb monkey, this is very obvious what is going on right now in front of us, and this ruse and this lullaby trying to get us to go back to sleep is all about. We're going to have to stop being shy. We're going to have to stop being silent. We're going to have to start speaking up. We're going to have to start pushing back. We're going to have to start pushing back, all right? We're going to have to start showing up, and we're going to have to make our voices heard loud and clear, right? And we're going to have to hold people accountable and how they are, whether or not they win, right? And we're going to have to look at our side of the aisle as well as the other side of the aisle and begin to create a list of names. Isn't that what they love doing? They love talking about making lists of names of Trump supporters to go after. We're going to start making up our own lists, right? Of people, of target number ones that we need to go after, right? And we're going to have to get serious. We're going to have to come up with the real strategy if we have any chance of surviving what Chuck Schumer promised, that if we win Georgia, he said, we will change America. It's not looking good. So anyway, trying to leave on a high note. This is just crazy. I am so very grateful for each and every one of you. Pivot. God, family, country. Look to God. Get your relationship right with him. He is sovereign. Turn to your family. Hug them. Love them. Enjoy them. Turn mainstream media off and just sit with your family this week and enjoy them. Okay? Pray for our country. Pray for our president. Blessings. Talk to you soon.